Good evening. In the news tonight, state officials are trying to lure a Toyota engine plant to Indiana, and Vice President Cheney is accepting responsibility for shooting a fellow hunter.
In sports, Indiana is in need of a road win. They'll try to get that tonight at Penn State, and Bob Knight is set to host his own reality TV show.
Newscenter 22 is next. Indiana is bidding for a Toyota engine assembly line that could employ several hundred workers. Officials began discussing the engine plant with Toyota several months ago and have brought up the subject on several occasions since. A Toyota spokesman says the company is gathering information about sites throughout North America and isn't ready to select a location. The Indiana Development Group is also trying to win a separate Toyota Camry assembly line. Toyota officials say they may put a sedan line in the underused Subaru car plant in Lafayette. The Knox County Commissioners are considering several options in dealing with the county-owned Hillcrest building, which now stands empty following an arson fire last month. Commission President Jim Bobe told the County Council last night that one of those options is tearing the building down and using the insurance money elsewhere. Bobe says he was told by one insurance adjuster that the county stands to receive a larger payout by demolishing the building.
It could figure. I'm not going to say it will until we actually see the numbers from the insurance company, but they tell me it might be to best interest for us to tear the building down.
Bobe says the Hillcrest building is insured for over $400,000. He says the county could take that money and apply it to rental expenses for county offices displaced by the fire or use it to remodel the soon-to-be vacated sheriff's department across from the courthouse. Bobe asked council members to make their own suggestions. In his State of the County address last month, Council President Bob Lechner says he thinks the county would be better off demolishing the building and selling the 12-acre site, including Hillcrest Park, to attract high-tech industry. Knox County office holders will be required to appear before the County Council when requesting additional money in excess of $500. Council President Bob Lechner says the resolution was prompted by office holders sending an employee to request the funds instead of coming in person. Lechner says sometimes the employee can't answer all of the council questions before or considering the appropriation. In the event the office holder doesn't appear, the request for funding will either be denied or tabled until the next meeting. Council passed the resolution 6-1 with Councilman Jim Beery opposed. Fire caused heavy damage to a storage area at the Powdered Coat Paint Shop on Old US 41 South late Tuesday night. Vincennes Township Fire Chief Tim Smith says the fire apparently started in a lean-to type storage area attached to the main building. Smith says damage to the main building was not as severe. The cause of the fire is under investigation. An investigator from the State Fire Marshal's office is expected in town today. Vincennes University students, programs, and partnerships received state awards Tuesday in Indianapolis as part of Indianapolis's Awards for Excellence in Career and Technical Education program. 6 award recipients are VU students and alumni who have demonstrated outstanding scholarship. They include Ashley Marie Johnson of Decker, Vicki Davis of Patoka, Welly McEmar of St. Francisville, Illinois, Michael Nice of Paoli, Wes Blankenberger from Kokomo, and Todd Overbeck of Noblesville. Nice and Blankenberger are seniors majoring in broadcasting.
This program is just amazing in the fact that I can, first week I'm here, I get my hands on a camera, I'm in the studios, I'm working on things, and I get as much out of this program as I want to. You know, I mean, I can just show up to class and just do the things that are required, but the professors almost encourage you to stay after and work harder and you know, expand your knowledge just in everyday interaction with the professors, just in talking to them, and it's just great.
The things that have been given to me and presented before me at Vincennes University has allowed me to do so much in the way of, it's like a snowball effect. You get involved in one thing and then you get involved in another and another and another, and before you know it, you're involved in so much and you get to do so much that it just comes natural that you're a leader and you can achieve that level of excellence.
In addition to the student awards, VU's Computer Integrated Manufacturing Program and the VU and the Haas Automation Partnership received awards for excellence. Both were honored for outstanding achievements in vocational education. The program is sponsored by the Indiana Commission on Career and Technical Education and the Indiana Career and Technical Education Association. The awards are presented annually during National Career and Technical Education Week. Meanwhile, 3 Vincennes University students took the top 3 spots in a recent national technology contest. They designed hot rod wheels for Mastercam's Innovation of the Future contest. That contest is designed to help introduce students to real-world manufacturing by asking them to produce a specific part that will be judged by a special guest from the manufacturing industry. That special judge this year was legendary hot rod builder and designer Boyd Coddington of the Discovery Channel's American Hot Rod Show. Finishing first, second, and third, respectively, are VU students Zach Frame of Logansport, Dan Hill of Uniondale, and A.J. Sullivan of Louisville, Kentucky. Good Samaritan Hospital in Vincennes will implement a new smart IV system by the end of May. The system is designed to reduce IV medication errors. Although the hospital's medication error rates are well below the national average, hospital officials say there is always room for improvement. When a dosage is entered into the IV system, the software accesses a drug database and compares the order against a preset standard for minimum and maximum doses. Any deviation from that standard automatically sets off an alert. Police dismantled 1,300 meth labs in Indiana last year, 249 fewer than the year before. In Knox County, state police dismantled 30 labs, 38 fewer than the year before. Davies County's numbers dropped from 17 to 14. Gibson County labs increased from 30 to 36. 12 labs were dismantled in Pike County compared to 3 in 2004. Those numbers don't include labs dismantled by local authorities. State police say the number of methamphetamine labs operating in Indiana fell last year because of more aggressive enforcement and tougher sentencing. If your last name begins with an A or B and you recently renewed your license tag through the Indiana Bureau of Motor Vehicles, online or by mail, you may have to visit a BMV office in person. The BMV says it has a backlog in applications that's delayed processing. The mayor's office says Wabash Avenue at Washington Avenue in Vincennes will be closed for much of the day, Thursday and Friday. CSX Railroad will be repairing the crossing there. Wabash Avenue will be closed from 7 a.m. Thursday until 4 p.m. Friday. Still to come on Newscenter 22, Vice President Cheney is accepting responsibility for shooting a fellow hunter. And state police say there appears to be nothing dangerous in an off-white powder that spilled out of an envelope being opened in House Speaker Brian Bosma's State House office today. Stay with us.
Coming up this week on 22 Magazine, Vincennes University Athletic Director Denny Myers talks about VU's sports program. And Becky Bushi of Sign for Kids and Vincennes school teacher Chrissy Lang will talk about a petition drive that begins March 8th on the Vincennes School Corporation's $57 million building plan. The next time on 22 Magazine, Saturday night at 7:30 on WVUT.
The Indiana State House was shut down for a short time after 2 suspicious envelopes were found today. An administrative assistant to House Speaker Brian Bosma opened one envelope and found an off-white powder inside. The other suspicious envelope was found in a mailroom and it was not opened. Both envelopes were taken by the FBI for testing. State police say a preliminary test for substance from the opened envelope found no dangerous biological or chemical substances. Bosma says the employee who opened the envelope was isolated for about 2 hours after she opened the envelope, but was fine and was sent home for the day. State senators are scaling back their retirement health care benefits, but the changes don't go as far as a decision by the House to end lifetime state-subsidized health care benefits for those who leave office after the November election. Since 2002, state lawmakers who serve a day more than 6 years are allowed to receive lifetime state health insurance for themselves and their families at current premium levels. The House eliminates the perk last month for representatives elected or re-elected this November. The new Senate plan eliminates the benefit for a senator or Senate employee who retires before the age of 50. Those who retire after that will still receive subsidized health insurance but would have to pay more. A Senate committee voted Tuesday to advance a bill to the full Senate designed to curb road rage by making aggressive driving a specific crime. The legislation is supported by relatives of 2 teenagers who were killed after a man allegedly became angry and caused their vehicle to crash. The House was already approved the measure. Vice President Cheney is accepting responsibility for shooting a fellow hunter. Cheney, in an interview with Fox News, called Saturday one of the worst days of my life. Cheney says he's the guy who pulled the trigger and shot Harry Whittington, and he claims he can't blame anybody else. He calls it a day he'll never forget. Meanwhile, doctors say the man Vice President Cheney accidentally shot has a normal heart rhythm again. Harry Whittington is said to be sitting up in a chair, eating regular food, and wondering what all the hoopla is about. Homeland Security Secretary Michael Chertoff says he accepts responsibility for what he admits was a woefully inadequate response to Hurricane Katrina. Maine Senator Susan Collins says her Senate panel wants answers about efforts she calls uncertain and ineffective. Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke says a swollen federal deficit and the strain of government from aging baby boomers may pose big challenges to the U.S. economy. Bernanke tells Congress that economic expansion is on track, although he's leaving the door open for future interest rate hikes. Iraqi's unrelenting violence has killed at least 18 more people today, including 3 girls and a boy caught in a bomb attack while walking to school. There have also been at least 3 car bombings in Baghdad today. 4 police officers and 2 civilians were killed. Gunmen firing from 2 cars shot and killed police captain and his driver. Iraqi officials are condemning the Australian broadcast of new images purportedly showing Iraqi prisoners being abused at the Abu Ghraib prison. An Iraqi government advisor says the pictures add heat to an already fragile situation. At least 3 people are dead in a protest today in Pakistan. It's the 3rd straight day of violence over cartoons depicting Muhammad. The biggest protest involved more than 70,000 people who torched businesses and battled police. It's not science fiction anymore. An Ohio company has become the first U.S. firm to implant silicon chips in its workers. Bill Tucker reports.
Sean Darks, chief executive of CityWatcher.com, didn't want to ask his employees to do anything he wouldn't do, so he had this chip embedded under his skin. The chip has an access code for admittance into a room holding security footage for government agencies and police. For Darks, the tiny chip is a security solution. No IDs for employees to lose. They can't. It's right there in their arm.
Actually, it's an inexpensive solution versus a retina scanner or a fingerprint ID. Those solutions are rather expensive. This solution is inexpensive as far as compared to those.
Less expensive and less secure. The chips themselves don't contain any personal information, but they do contain a key to information. Unencrypted information that Jonathan Westhughes, a software developer in Canada, says he found relatively easy to copy, meaning he could become Sean Darks in the eyes of a machine if he wanted to. Then there is the issue of privacy and whether employers might start demanding employees get the chip implanted as a form of ID.
Certainly you have a choice on whether or not you want to take employment somewhere, but as we market through our distributors to the employer community, one of the things we emphasize in the privacy policy and the materials that are distributed is the fact that the product should be a voluntary product.
Sounds good, but people who work on privacy issues point out that the workplace has seen a steady erosion of privacy rights.
In the 1980s, you take a polygraph test to get a job. In the 1990s, it was drug testing. A little later on, it was reading your email. And in each step along the line, you start to ask the question, is the law going to create any zones of safety?
When and where does that line get drawn? Privacy right groups invoke the image of Big Brother watching. Some on the Christian right call them the mark of Satan. People who contemplate the future are excited about the possibilities. After all, it just puts us this much closer to realizing a marketer's dream, as shown in this scene from the movie Minority Report. Bill Tucker, CNN, New York.
The Pentagon says the remains of 4 U.S. servicemen missing in action since the Vietnam War have been identified and will be returned to their families for burial. They are Major Jack Barker of Waycross, Georgia, Captain John Dugan of Roselle, New Jersey, Sergeant William Dillander of Naples, Florida, and Private First Class John Chubb of Gardena, California. The Department of Defense says their helicopter was shot down on March 20th, 1971. They were on a troop extraction mission in Laos, approaching a landing zone when the helicopter was hit by a heavy enemy ground fire and exploded. Still to come on Newscenter 22, talk about a mixed bag of weather. Michael Nice will have the details when Newscenter 22 continues.
Tune in to WVUT this Wednesday night. At 8, Windsor Castle, A Royal Year, presents a look at activities in the British castle over the course of a year. The series opens with an entertaining view of staffers preparing for a banquet honoring French President Jacques Chirac and his wife Bernadette. At 9, The Blitz, London's longest night, recalls the fierce December 29, 1940 Nazi firebombing of London. Wednesday night on WVUT.
Well, Michael, warmer temperatures arrived again at the Wabash Valley today.
Oh, absolutely, Kristen. We've had almost spring-like conditions today in Vincennes, but that's not going to stick around too much longer. Good evening, everybody. And as we take a look outside at our tower cam, we can see downtown Vincennes under some very thick cloud cover currently. Out at the airport, it's 56 degrees, winds south-southwest at 10 miles per hour. The humidity, 72%, and our barometric pressure, 30.05, and holding steady. Now, temperatures around the viewing area, cloudy skies for much of the Wabash Valley, pretty much all of the Wabash Valley actually. In Jasper, Indiana is at 57 degrees, Sanborn 56, down in Decker they're at 56, and our friends over in Parkersburg, Illinois at 55 degrees. Our national temperature map, you can see we have very cold temperatures across much of the nation currently. We can see that this blue line right here, this is a cold front that's moving through the United States right now, causing very frigid temperatures in the west coast, and they're going to continue to experience below average temperatures for this time of year. Our current cold spot in the United States, International Falls, Minnesota and Fargo, North Dakota, both at 4 degrees. Down south in Brownsville, Texas and Corpus Christi, both at 80 degrees currently. National temperature map, we can see that we have, if we take a look at the national temperature map, we can see that we have 2 separate frontal systems moving through the United States right now. That's due in association with 2 jet stream patterns. We have a tropical jet that's moving across the southwest and Gulf Coast right now, and that's bringing us these very warm temperatures. And if our other jet stream is up north around the Canadian-United States border, that's in association with this very impressive frontal system that extends almost the length of the United States. That is causing, right here in the Great Basin, a snow system that's moving its way to the east, and it's going to, by tonight, it will move into the Great Lakes region, creating as much of a foot of snow for much of the Michigan area. For us, though, this low pressure system around the Oklahoma area, it's going to push its way into the Wabash Valley, bring us a chance for some rain, and also wind advisory will be in effect. We're going to have some wind conditions, 15 to 20 mile an hour winds, up to 35 mile an hour gusts. Our forecast for tonight, if we take a look at that tonight, rain showers likely, 50 degrees is the temperature. For tomorrow, thunderstorms possible, some severe weather, windy conditions. We're going to have up to 35 mile an hour wind gusts, so be careful with that. High of 59 degrees. Tomorrow night, thunderstorms continuing, also those windy conditions, low of 32 degrees. For the extended forecast, Sunny skies looking ahead to the weekend. 35 degrees the high on Friday. Saturday, your high 32 degrees, and for Sunday, 33 degrees. So, Kristen, cooling down a little bit as the weekend approaches, and some rain in the forecast.
Thank you, Michael. Still to come on Newscenter 22, IU and the Pacers look to pick up road wins tonight. Amy Reef will have the latest coming up in sports.
Public is invited to attend Meet Your Legislators on Saturday, February 25th at 9 a.m. in Davis Hall on the Vincennes University campus. The forum will include information from area legislators followed by a question and answer session. Viewers can phone in their questions the day of the show to 812-888-5334 or send your email questions to wvut@vinu.edu. Our live broadcast begins at 9 a.m. The show will be rebroadcast that same day on WVUT at 5 p.m.
Hoosiers in search of a road win. Good evening, everyone. For TV 22 Sports, I'm Amy Reef. Mike Davis says he has no plans to leave Indiana. He'll be on the sidelines tonight as the Hoosiers play at Penn State. But Davis told an Indianapolis TV station yesterday that he wouldn't comment on whether he would be returning next season. The Hoosiers have lost 5 of their last 6 games and are firmly on the NCAA tournament bubble. They also haven't won a conference game on the road. They face a Penn State team that has lost 4 consecutive home games. It's been a long time since Iowa has won a Big Ten regular season title. So long, in fact, that no team that's called Carver Hawkeye Arena home has done it. But Tuesday night, the 18th ranked Hawkeyes took a huge step toward their first outright conference title in 36 years. Greg Brunner scored 15 points and grabbed 10 rebounds as Iowa picked up its 5th straight win over a ranked opponent, beating number 16 Michigan State 66-54. The Hawkeyes are now a full game ahead of Ohio State in the Big Ten standings with 4 games to play. J.J. Redick needed 2 3-pointers to break the NCAA career record. For the top scorer in Division I, it wasn't much of a challenge. The Duke senior made those 2 shots and added 2 more on his way to 33 points, helping the second-ranked Blue Devils run away from visiting Wake Forest 93-70. Redick got 2 3-pointers in the first 12.5 minutes to give him 414 for his career, to pass the mark previously held by Virginia's Curtis Staples, who had 413. Freshman Josh McRoberts, a former Carmel High School standout, had 12 of his 16 points in the first half. Bob Knight's reality show will be rated PG. The former Indiana coach puts 16 walk-ons through the paces in a new reality show that begins Sunday on ESPN. Knight School will give one Texas Tech student the chance to play on his basketball team next fall. Executive producer Rob Lundgren says that some of Knight's words ultimately will be bleeped, but not that many. The Detroit Pistons are going into this weekend's NBA All-Star break with a 42-9 record, best record in the league. Chauncey Billups had 19 points and 10 assists to lead Detroit past the New Jersey Nets 85-71 and the Eastern Conference champions' final game before the break. Richard Hamilton added 18 points. Rasheed Wallace had 13 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 blocks to help Detroit win for the 3rd time in 4 games. Dwayne Wade scored 38 points and the Miami Heat shot 58% in a 107-93 win over Orlando. That's the 5th straight loss for the Magic. Shaquille O'Neal had 25 points and 11 rebounds for the Heat, who hope to take advantage of a soft stretch in the schedule. Beginning with this game, the Heat played 22 of their final 31 games against teams with losing records. Houston shot toward 58% and the Rockets routed the Los Angeles Clippers 128-97. Tracy McGrady rebounded for one of the worst games of his career with 28 points. He had just 7 points in a 7-point win over the New York Knicks on Sunday on 3 of 20 shooting. Yao Ming added 17 points and 12 rebounds. The Indiana Pacers are in the middle of a 7-game homestand as they host the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. Their only defeat at home since February first came Sunday against the San Antonio Spurs. Milwaukee is 6-5 since January 25th, with all 5 losses suffered on the road. Chad Hedrick will not tie Eric Heiden's record of 5 gold medals at a single Olympics. The U.S. speed skating trio of Hedrick, Casey Boutier, and Derek Parra lost to Italy in the quarterfinals of team pursuit. Hedrick had won the 5,000 meters on Sunday. U.S. freestyle skier Toby Dawson has captured bronze in men's moguls. Dawson outclassed teammate Jeremy Bloom, who finished 6th in what was his final competitive skiing event before heading to the NFL Combine. Australian Dale Begg-Smith won the moguls. American skier Lindsay Kildo finished in a tie for 8th in the women's downhill 2 days after she was hospitalized following a spectacular crash during a practice run. She said she was maybe 70% as she tried to ski through back pain and a severely bruised hip. Michaela Dorfmeister is the first Austrian in 26 years to win the event. Wayne Gretzky said it again. He isn't involved. This time he said it during a news conference from the Olympics that was televised live throughout Canada. Gretzky arrived at the Olympics with Team Canada yesterday. He said nothing new about the betting ring, allegedly run by one of his best friends and possibly patronized by his wife. National Football League Commissioner Paul Tagliabue continues to be optimistic about the future of the Saints in New Orleans. Tagliabue met with a group of New Orleans business leaders yesterday who have committed to helping support the Saints by purchasing suites, tickets, and sponsorships. Chicago Cubs first baseman Derek Lee and catcher Michael Barrett have been named to the 30-man U.S. team for next month's World Baseball Classic. Lee and Barrett will begin workouts with the U.S. team on March 3rd in Phoenix. Team USA will play its opener in the 16-team tournament March 7th against Mexico in Arizona. Chicago ace Carlos Zambrano is expected to pitch for Venezuela in the first WBC. And Kristen, that's a look at sports.
Thank you, Amy. Still to come on Newscenter 22, after many jokes about his resemblance to Finland's female president, talk show host Conan O'Brien got to meet her Tuesday. Stay with us.
The last two wives of Henry VIII are very different.
Catherine Howard was the chorus girl who'd got her tycoon and thought only of the size of his presence. Catherine Parr was a queen with a mission.
The private lives of the last Tudor wives. It's not history, it's her story. Next time on the 6 Wives of Henry VIII.
Why did an American late-night comedian have a face-to-face meeting with the president of Finland? Because she looks like him and vice versa. Jeannie Mose reports on Conan's trip to Finland.
Conan O'Brien gave Finland's president a heart-shaped box of chocolates.
I brought this for you.
He better give her something sweet. After all, he'd been doing a separated at birth routine for weeks.
It's incredible.
Conan's show runs daily on Finnish cable TV, so he took credit when his 62-year-old look-alike won re-election. And since the Olympics have temporarily sidelined Conan's show, why not take a victory trip to Finland? 2,000 fans gathered at the airport, temporarily rechristened Conan O'Brien International Airport. Welcome to Conlandia, read the cake. The winner of a Conan look-alike contest was on hand.
You are much more handsome than I. Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you for...
How did Finns feel about their president agreeing to meet with a comedian?
Well, why not? It's good PR, I think, for both, especially for Finland.
Okay, in a way it's quite funny, but then again, it's actually based on the fact that they are making fun of our president.
That he did, from unearthing video of President Hallinen dancing with James Brown at the Finnish Jazz Festival, to putting on lipstick at our instigation to make himself appear more presidential.
Now you look like her in drag.
But Conan skipped the lipstick.
That's very nice to meet you.
When he came face to face with the president, then he toned down his act.
You seem to be very popular here.
Yes, well, we can understand.
Earlier, Conan had suggested he be rewarded with a post in the Finnish cabinet.
I'd like to be the inspector of saunas. Mostly women's saunas. Occasionally male saunas if the man's good looking and in his late 20s.
As for the photo op photos, somehow the look-alikes didn't look quite so alike. If only Conan had worn his glasses. Jeannie Mo, CNN, New York.
And that's all for this evening. For Amy Reef and Michael Nice, I'm Kristen Miller. Good night.